So today, here we are with another Inspired Good Fat Life podcast. And I am so excited about the guests we have today because we have so much fun together. I think hanging out with my guests is fun. But before we launch into our topic on hair stories today, I just want to take a moment to remind everyone that we have Good Fat Life magazine. It's a beautiful publication, and you can also get a digital version. So that's available, and we have a new issue that will be coming out soon, and that's all exciting. So today's guests are Jill Mackay.
Hi, Sherry. Nice to see you again.
You too, and Nancy Simcheck from Hair Story.
Hi, Sherry. How are you?
Good, and I'm just so excited to have you guys here today because we're going to talk about that one thing that all people care about is their hair, right? I mean, even if you have no hair, there's still a story behind it, right?
Absolutely. People with no hair, I think, are more concerned about their no hair than people with hair.
People with hair. So it's so, well, I don't even know where to start. Like my brains are swimming. There's so many places to start. So let's talk about the new salon. So Nancy just recently opened a new salon, and it's called Hair Stories, right? Hair Stories.
Because we all have hair stories.
Yes, we do.
And there's 3 of us so far. We have room for 5. And literally each hairdresser has her own hair story. Jill started out like I did in Birmingham and Bloomfield. And through how many years, Jill? Have you been doing hair?
Like 32.
And 5 months and 3 days. No, just wait.
And I've been doing hair since 1981. And I came to Brighton about 16 years ago now. And man, is Brighton a great place to work. It is just, the people here are lovely. I love it. And so what else could be better but to open a salon here? I mean, and just be with the people of Brighton.
So, and some of it's a little bit different because I know Jill you had your salon, and then and I know there's that what do I want to say, that desire to have your own space, and then when you have your own space, it's like it's a lot of work.
It is.
Right? It's a lot of work, and people don't realize that it's not just now about doing hair; it's about running a business, and so how have you now you've kind of like created this space that is fun. Everybody gets to do what they want to do in a way they want to do it. But there's still some autonomy. Is that correct?
Well, because I had a salon in Brighton that I sold probably 5-6 years ago now. And it was a big salon and it was a lot of work. I was I turned into HR somehow.
Okay.
So it really took away time from my clients and getting to be with the other hairdressers. So what I wanted to do was create a salon that had salons within, but we were all still working together. It wasn't just a hairdresser in her room.
Got it.
So Jill's salon is literally Mackay J. So she is separate from me, but we get to work together, which is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
And so much fun for like me.
Right.
Because when I go see Jill, I get to see you and the space. And then if for some reason Jill's not available, I know that you can back her up if you're available. Mm-hmm. And I know I will be thrilled with what you do. Right. And so it's a community, but it's so much fun to go in there.
I like that you said community because to me, that's exactly what it feels like in there is a community. Yeah. Like I know that, that I can go to Nancy and ask her something or, talk to her about something. And I know she comes to me and talks to me about things. And then I'll say, hey, Nancy, is there anything the salon needs? Do I need, should I pick up anything? What were you thinking about this? She tells me. I mean, and then we have another hairdresser in there, Shelly, but I really feel like the 3 of us communicate well together and we really work well together. Do you feel like that? And I think it's absolutely because of her leadership.
Well, I don't know how much of a leader I am, but I do know, hairdressers, it's a beautiful thing when hairdressers work together. even with the hair aspect of it. Because sometimes I'll be thinking, well, what would Jill do with this? And so I can go over to Jill and get her take on it.
Got it. Okay.
And I watch Jill do hair, and I watch Shelly do hair. It's we learn off each other all the time, because everybody has a different way of doing something. So you pick up little things all the time,
and that makes it fun. So you're always growing. And I didn't realize how much. I mean, I full disclosure, I go to Jill because I loved going to Jill. It's
Thank you.
It's and I read somewhere in that that women will give up almost anything before they give up their hair appointments, and I believe it. And even during COVID, right? It was like, what was the worst thing that happened? Okay, not seeing my grandchildren, but the second worst thing was not being able to see you.
Yeah, that's
Because it makes you feel good.
right. And I think that whenever you touch somebody, and that's all we do all day, you develop like a really intimate relationship with them, even if you're just washing their hair.
Right.
So you miss that person, Like I know I was really missing my clients during COVID, where I was starting to text them and, call them and stuff like that. Because I was like, well, I wonder what they're doing. I wonder what's happening. Did you do that too?
Oh, yeah. I would get calls and texts all the time just to say, hello, how are you? They would text me. I think they're actually thinking about me,
Yeah.
but they were. It was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful.
So you're like a extended part of the family, right? Yeah. Well, it's important. So before we get into some of the stories, I do want to just take a moment and acknowledge, like I was saying, like I know Jill, it was participate. I've got to read this so I get it right. In the American Board Certified Colorists and the Michigan Cosmetologists Association. I mean, I just didn't really even know these things kind of existed. I mean, I know you do a lot of classes, but I had no idea the depth of classes and how much you continue to take classes to keep up on the latest coloring skills or.
Well, everything. There's like, there's coloring skills, true, but what I really love to do is take chemistry classes.
Okay.
And that's where the American Hair Colors Association comes in. And you go to California, and it's like 4 days of classes. You take it, you have to prepare and take tests. And it is just in-depth hair. Like I took a hair history class. You take chemistry classes from, chemists.
Yeah.
And learn, different ingredients that they put in products as far as, hair shampoos and conditioners, as well as color and how they bind the colors and make them into color. So, like, I really think that's super interesting. And then I took another class, and I can't remember the name of it anymore, but it was like a 3-day class. It started out with like 60 people, and every day you were weeded out. And by the end of the class, I think there was like 9 of us left.
Wow.
And that was really intimidating because the guy didn't speak any English. And do you want to hear this?
Yeah.
So like they're telling you what to do, and you're just like you're watching really hard to see like how they're moving their hands and their bodies, because so much of people don't realize how much of a hairdresser's body goes in to like their haircuts.
Okay.
Because it makes a certain energy.
Okay.
And how they hold their scissors and how their arms go, and their legs might move back and forth because the energy goes into the haircut, right?
Okay. Because everything's energy.
Because everything's all
energy.
movement's energy, right?
Right.
And your haircut has an energy because when you swing your hair, it goes back and forth, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So you can tell a pretty haircut by the movement, right?
Okay.
So you're totally focused on the instructor, who Nancy knows also, Mackay, doesn't speak any English, and then you'd have to blow out your hair, and then he would totally go through it. So every day he's like going through my haircuts, and every day I was holding my breath because he was not like sensitive to your feelings.
I know we can't swear, so he called me a donkey.
So so I was standing and I was waiting. There was a girl in front of me, and had my head down, and I was really like trying not to listen to what he was saying to her, which I couldn't understand him anyways. But then I hear him say to her, "You hate doing blow dries, don't you?" And I was like, why do I understand him? Why could I understand him? I couldn't understand him for 2 days. Now I can understand that. And she's like, no, I like it, And so I like doing blow dries. And so he gives her back her head and he tells her to go do it again. And I get up there and I was like, oh, no. And then all of a sudden we're back to Japanese again. I don't understand a thing he's saying. I was like, I guess I did good. But by the end, the last thing that passed you out of that class, that class gave me a certificate of master, Master of Cuts and Color, was you had to make up, they gave you a theme, you had to do a haircut, and then you had to present it, and also totally go through slow motion, a technique that you learned.
Huh. Wow.
So it was I was sweating, but what a growing experience,
Right.
It was fun.
And that's one thing
When it was over.
When it was over. But you do a lot of you're learning stuff all the time. You and Nancy both are learning stuff all the time.
If you're not doing hair and you're not doing it right. You're constantly learning, aren't you? This is a job that that's what makes it fun. And every time you do a haircut that's challenging, right? I have a gentleman, his hair sticks out like straight from his scalp this way, or straight this way. So every time I do it, I think, okay, what can I do? That's the fun of it. I love doing, it's a challenge, literally, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is so. Talk about. I mean, what are some of the things that stories? I mean, people's stories. Where does that? Are there any memorable ones that you want to share?
Wow.
I mean, I bet you could write books about.
Well, I was
stories
thinking
of
when
hair.
you were talking about what women will do to get their hair
Right.
done. Mary Jane, I have this. She's pushing 90. She's my last little weekly, and she comes in every Friday morning at 9:00 with her coffee, and she's eating her donut in the car. And she used to wear high heels, click in every day. Well, at my other salon, it was on Main Street there. The snow piles in the wintertime, you couldn't hardly.
Oh, you couldn't walk over them. Yeah.
You get to the curb, right? Well, one Friday morning I'm watching, and she had her little Cadillac. And when I tell you, she plowed right into the snow pile as hard as she could. And she got out in her boots, her high heel boots, and I'm trying to run out to help her. And I said, Mary Jane, why did you drive in the snow? She said, I don't care how I got here, but I'm getting here to get my hair done. It's not about getting home, it's getting here.
Getting here. Oh, that's cute.
So yeah, and people, it's amazing how important it is to us to get our hair done.
It is.
And to feel pretty. It is.
It is. It's I don't know. It's what's the word? It's like it's not core, but there's something that the minute, and I obviously go to a colorist, a master colorist, because I use color, right? And it is so interesting how I can just feel my mood shifting when my roots aren't done. Right. It just all of a sudden, it's like I kind of want to hide or stay home or whatever.
But when historically have we not done our hair?
Well, I don't know, Jill.
Never.
I don't know about history. I don't know hair
Never.
history.
The Vikings did their hair.
Mm-hmm.
They used to color their hair with lye.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how they got blonde, and they had like Viking dews. So, I mean, I think it's just in us.
Well, I guess when you think about it, I saw Cyrano last year, and they had all the wigs. Mm-hmm. And, it's a reminder of through history, hair has been, there's so much around it, society
And how it's ever changing.
and how it's ever changed. So tell me, how many people have you, how many people like get a style and stay with it their whole life? How often do you see that?
Well, my mom did have a friend who, and I don't even know if she's still not doing the same hairstyle. When she got married, probably in the 50s, she had it was a set, this and then this, and and I know her, and her husband loved it, right? So he didn't want her to change. Well, I remember her telling my mom she had it parted on the other side, which is a big deal. And she had a headache for like 5 days.
It hurt her hair follicles.
Because she parted her hair on. So, I mean, for like 30 years, she had this hairstyle. And you'll find that, I don't know if you found that, a lot of times when women get married, their husbands love what they look like, so they never want them to change. Don't change.
Okay.
It's a comfort for men almost,
For their wives to keep the same hairstyle. But our hair changes, right?
I think we just slowly morph away from it.
And fashion changes. So I was I grew up in Oregon, and I was in Oregon this past week, and we were looking at a lot of pictures, right? And the perm. And it was like, why didn't somebody say something? I mean, seriously.
So, the perm, that's interesting because the perm, that was like to support a hairstyle. That wasn't a hairstyle. We turned it into the hairstyle, but it was developed to support a hairstyle.
So tell me more. What does that mean?
So, okay. So if you go back to when was it developed? The 20s?
Yeah.
It was before the Depression, the finger wave. So not
Okay.
everybody, you have to have, not everybody's hair texture is going to support a finger wave, right?
Okay.
So the perm was developed, and I think it was the bob to support the bob haircut too.
Could be.
And so they developed it to support that finger wave and the wide thing. So then in the 80s when we started perming, which was
Everybody.
yeah, that was like the heyday of the hairdresser. That was just like first they were coming in for perms, and the next week they get a conditioning treatment. The next week they get like 45 and bleach highlights to their scalp. And the next week they come in again. I mean, it was great. and
And don't you remember you hit the salon door and the smell of perm would just hit
Oh,
you right in
yes.
the face, right?
I love that smell. I still do. I'm like,
Jill has her air fresheners in the house.
It's like going to the gas
Great
pump, that
feeling.
old gas,
it smells like roses. But so that's what happened. So the perm was, and then at that time, everybody had the Farrah faucet. Well, Nancy can't do the Farrah faucet. Nope. You and I could easy, right? But you had to have that perm. So the next thing you know, everybody's like, well, we'll just pick it out.
Yeah, right. How many men perms did you give, Jill?
Oh, I know, right?
Really?
Oh.
Did men got perms too?
Yeah.
And every what? 5 weeks? 6
Yeah.
'cause they're-
Remember
'cause they're
Mr. Brady?
Yeah. Oh,
Remember Mr. Brady?
who's the painter? The
Oh
painter.
my God, Bob Ross.
Bob Ross. That was a perm. That was actually a perm.
Just gonna add a little blue rod. Looks nice.
And you say you're not funny.
This is what I deal with all day long. And I bait her a lot.
Oh my gosh.
It's true.
It's true.
It is. I know.
I know.
It's okay.
But it was just so funny, like going through the generations, seeing those haircuts, and the mullet and the this, and it's like, and so where are we now? What's the,
You know what? Wasn't there always names? I don't think we have names for haircuts anymore.
Oh yeah, there
Do we?
was.
There was always names.
Yeah.
I
think the last name I remember is Rachel.
The Rachel.
Rachel. Everybody wanted the Rachel from Friends. Remember?
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah, that was
That's
a
the
big.
last
I
one I
think that was
remember.
about it. Now there's just there's so many different availabilities. Nobody is stuck in the box anymore. Like the Princess Di,
Right.
Or the
Princess Di. Yeah.
the Princess Di was a big one.
Yeah.
That was a big one. And who's the skater? The Dorothy.
Dorothy
Hamill.
Hamill.
Dorothy Hamill?
Remember Dorothy
Okay,
Hamill?
yeah.
I can remember people wanting to look like Jessica Lansbury in Murder, She Wrote.
I don't know whose hair you were
know
doing.
what? I know, but I figured out why.
Why?
Because Jessica Lamberry always had those guys following her around. The doctor, the detective, and all those ladies were like, if I have the Jessica Lansbury man, the guy, that's it. I'm pretty sure. Watch her show. It's on Cozy TV, 8:00 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Monday through Friday.
Now you know what Jill does on her days off.
Right?
So talk about that on your days off, because we were saying, because you guys are here on your days off, and you're like, what? We're on a video? You didn't mention that part.
Jill tries to tell me she's super boring on her days off. I don't believe it. There's a special life at Jill's house. I know it.
Special things happening all the time.
So do you feel, do you feel pressure that your hair has to be like perfect all the time?
Look at us.
Well, the thing of it is my hair's naturally frizzy, so I look great today.
But I love that. It's, it's the days off, and I was like kind of intimidated. It's like, oh, I'm going to be with my hairstylist today, and my hair looks like, the bomb blew up. And then it's like, oh, well, it's their day off. Right. So
no, I remember when I first started doing hair, a hairdresser told me, I loved him. He was great. He said, honey, you can pick out the good hairstylists because their hair looks like CRAP. Because they're doing everybody else, but not their own. Which is true.
Yeah.
Because you're not worried about
you're
you.
Busy.
You're worried about everybody else.
Right.
Your focus is on truthfully.
Right.
Yeah. And every once in a while I look in the mirror, oh, it's like that,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
And you say, Jill, help me.
I know. It's just crazy.
Yep.
So what, so if somebody comes in and they're wanting like a redo, like what do you do? Where do you
I send them
start?
to Jill.
Yeah, I hope our listeners are seeing why it's really fun to go somewhere where there's a great hair stories, right?
Yeah. So what do you do, Nance?
When somebody wants to redo, I redo it.
Do you?
And I figure out what I did, and it might be nothing wrong, but sometimes you see things one way and somebody else sees things another way,
Right.
It's just,
Well, always.
yeah. So what somebody sees with their hair eye is not what I see with my hair eye. So, you try to make it cohesive.
And what somebody wants.
Absolutely.
Because they have a vision.
Absolutely. We all have a vision of what we want to look like.
Right.
Not
Oh my
But that's
gosh.
what we do. We try to, you know what? And I think that's super important part of our job, right? To make people feel,
Well, I think that is our job.
to make people feel really good.
To feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that truthfully, you might not even like the hairdo, but when they feel good, you can feel it. I mean, you really can.
You can feel good that they feel good.
Right. Well,
'Cause
they're
it's
strutting
what
out
they
of the
love.
salon.
Right.
You
Right.
know, you
Yeah.
can just tell when people feel good.
It's kind of like when your dogs go to the groomers and they're like,
look at me.
look at me.
Yeah.
Right. Because they don't have that filter.
But yeah, I think that's our job over and above. Like you can try to explain to somebody, if I cut it here, you might notice this. If I cut it too high here, you might notice your back. But,
But in the long run,
it doesn't really
it's
matter.
what makes them feel
Right. You can show them, but,
good. Yeah.
you can show them with color swatches.
But you know what? I'm telling you, this is, and Jill would agree, from where we started to where we are now, I can't even tell you my client. I have the nicest clientele, and Jill does too, because I've gotten to know her ladies.
Yeah.
I mean, nice, wonderful people. Like it makes your day. You literally come and go, oh, that's nice. Oh, I got her. Oh, it's great.
I'm looking forward to the
Yeah,
day. I'm excited
literally.
about the day.
Yeah. And how many people can say that about their job?
Yeah.
Right.
That's for sure.
And so let's talk about, you were telling me that now you can make appointments. There's a trend of making appointments where they're silent.
It's kind of hard in my salon.
So I didn't say in your salon. I'm just saying, so what's up with that? What do you think's happening there?
I think people need more peace in their life. I think they need some zen. So I just heard about this trend.
Yeah.
They call up and they tell the desk or whoever they're talking to,
Right.
us, we book our own appointments. So if somebody wants a silent appointment, just tell us, But I guess that's a trend. a silent appointment.
Right.
So they can just kind of chill and be zen through the whole thing, which I
Wait,
get.
So you guys, I interviewed a stylist once, and for the magazine, she did an article, and she goes, it was titled "You Booked the Wrong Appointment," because she found that lots of people wanted to come and talk about their problems, about kind of like have a therapy session, and she goes, "I'm not your therapist. I am your hairstylist. I make your hair pretty, but I don't know how to solve your relationship problems or whatever." And I mean, do you guys ever have, how do you find that?
Well,
You know what though? It's like Jill said. After how many years of doing people, you do kind of have personal relationships with
yeah,
people.
you know
It
what?
just-
This might be too. I don't know if I can say this, but a lot of times I just tell people, and I do, that I'll pray for them. And I think that
Right.
they kind of, I think it eases them because it's It's no judgment.
Right. And you listen.
And I listen to what they're saying, and
Right.
I think that kind of is,
and most of the time, people don't want answers anyways. They
yeah,
just want
Right.
a sounding board.
Right.
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 They don't want you to tell them this is
What
what
to
you
do.
do. They just want to have somebody. And
Right.
truthfully, a lot of people do unload on us because we don't know their family.
Well, I don't.
So we're not going to tell anybody. They just
Oh,
unload.
right.
You're right. It's a good place just to go and say blah, like we do.
Right, we do. But half the time, I don't even know what they're talking about. I'm like, what? Where did we get here? I thought we were doing a level 7.
That's right. It's the best level.
So, but that kind of goes to the space that you create, which is one of the reasons that I love to be there, is because it just feels good. And so I guess whether you're talking or whether you don't, I don't need it to be quiet. But Jill's really intuitive, and so if I'm needing to be quiet, we don't talk, and if I need to talk, we talk. I mean, so it's like that reading people, I guess, or just understanding.
Well, and do you ever walk into a room and you get somebody who's like, Eeyore, and it sucks the life out of a room, right?
Right.
Do you know anybody like that?
Maybe in the past, but that's what we try to avoid as hairdressers. You got to be up. You leave your problems at home,
Right.
and you come in, and it helps us too.
Sure.
Clients think we're
Right.
only help, but it helps us too. It does,
So that's part of your self-care is to create a ambiance that lifts up everybody.
everybody,
Right.
right?
I agree.
'Cause-
Well said.
Because you want to
You're
feel.
so smart.
Don't you want to feel better going out? Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
But and it doesn't seem to matter. It doesn't matter what the scenario is, right? Because we all have stuff.
Right.
We all have our days like this. But when you're in a space where it's okay to just be who you are, and there's that energy of upbeat, uplift, it just naturally makes you feel better, right? But you know that if you needed something, there's a community there to support you.
Yep.
Right.
I think that's really makes a difference.
Right.
And when I tell you we have fun, it's not fake.
It's more
I mean,
like,
she has not a fake bone in her. Look at her.
it's it's like offer one and one for all.
That's right. It is.
Not for offer me. It's offer one and one
And you know
for
what?
all.
It's true because
What?
if sometime somebody is having a hard time with something,
Right.
I guarantee one of the other two girls would step in. I mean, we do. It's all for one.
Right. And I think that's
One
as
for
I
all.
was thinking, so that's one of the beauties of a smaller space, because you can be very deliberate and intentional about what you're creating. Right. Where if you have some of the bigger salons and spas, you've got so many people there that you don't get that kind of energy camaraderie that's contained.
Except for when you're in the back room.
To the
What
public, how's it?
happens in the back room, Jill, stays in the back room. And notoriously, hairdressers' salons' back rooms are about the size of this table, and you got about 12 people in them.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's kind of like, there's no secrets.
There's no secrets. Well, so talk about a little bit about one of the big things is gray. Should we go gray?
Ask Jill.
So, okay, I'll talk about
Spill
it.
it.
I'll
Spill it,
spill
Jill.
it. I'll spill
Spill
it.
it.
So, first of all, that's really hard because like I can't even quite figure it out because there's some women, I have a few of them, they have gray hair and I'm constantly staring at them and thinking, what is it about your skin, your eyes, that makes you look so pretty
With your gray hair.
with your gray
Right.
hair? And then I look at other people and I'm like, wow, how do you feel? Like I still can't figure out. I don't know if it's skin tone, eye tone, gray, like people say the gray. Well, gray really isn't a color, it's a percentage. So I don't know if it's the percentage of gray that is better than 1%, or is it their underlying pigment that works? But what I have found during this thing is like people will say, or women will say, I want to go gray. And I'll say, well, that's good. So you want to go gray, you're going to want to wear makeup. You might want to wear a tone, a skin bronzer. You are definitely going to want to put on lipstick and you're going to want to get your teeth whitened because you are. I mean, it's true, right? So it's true. So, and because that's the way it goes.
But it's kind of like, I guess it's kind of like, when we decorate at home, right? You get a new piece of furniture or you change out a window treatment or something, then suddenly everything else
Looks shabby.
looks shabby.
Right.
Or off.
Right.
It doesn't look good. So you have to change all that. I
Right.
never thought about it from the hair color of all the things that you needed to pay attention to.
Right. Because it kind of changes everything, right? So I don't know. I know that some people like look really pretty after they do it. And like I said, I can't figure out of those things what it is. Is it the percentage? Is it, their eye, their skin tone, their whatever have you?
But not everybody
Not everybody what?
looks pretty when they do.
No, because lots of
It's
people,
true.
they just look old and frumpy.
They just look right.
But I've noticed too that the ones that don't, they're coming back for color.
Right.
We might change it up. Like we might do like more low lights, put more natural pigment in it.
Right.
Or they'll go like a little bit blonder and do but they're doing something.
Right. So even if you grow your hair gray, you can still, like you said, you can put low lights in it. You can put highlights
Toners.
in it. You can mix it up and make the gray not so gray.
Gray.
And bring life to your skin because
Right.
color is makes everything glowy.
Yeah, and that always like when you think about like skin tone and hair, I always you always want to contrast. You don't
If you're all white,
right.
there's-
If you just have like little eyes,
But yellow
sticking
teeth
out
is
and
not
yellow teeth. That's not a look, right?
Well, it could be.
It could be.
Be.
So I don't know, but I know too. Like even that, like a lot of my customers have frizzy hair because I do. So like the color helps keeps it down, right?
Oh,
Right.
So then they have to do, all right, so do you want to do a keratin treatment now?
Right.
Or I do like clear glosses because some people are more prone. If they vacation a lot, depending on the underlying pigment in their hair, or if they're just, they'll pull yellow. So they get glossers to keep the yellow down when they're on vacation. So, I mean, it's...
And so just listening to you talk, it's like there is a lot of chemistry behind this and skill and understanding about all of this, how this works.
Yeah, because we act stupid, but really we have a lot. We have to
is it an act? I don't
No,
know.
not really for me. But you have to think, all right, when somebody's telling you something, okay, how is that going to lift the underlying pigment and what's going to happen? What's the reaction going to be?
Oh,
Right?
it's I had a client walk back one time and she saw our color cupboards.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh, I thought there was like 4. We have hundreds." So like you said, the the choices, and you got to figure out levels and pigments and where you're starting and where you want to end up, and the levels of developers all change. So it's not as
There's
easy
a lot of
as-
science to it.
It's not in a
And
box.
chemistry, yeah. Oh, well, you guys are so much fun, but you're also so incredibly skilled at what you do.
Well,
And
if we
just
haven't figured it out by now, we might as well just go ahead.
So I need to take a little quick commercial. So I want to do a shout out to Hands On Health Chiropractic here in Brighton, Michigan. They do amazing things with chiropractic care, massage therapy, and ergonomics. And I just did a 10-day detox with the clinic, and I think there were over 30 people doing it, and it was quite an experience. But I love it. I love having them hands-on care or hands-on health in my life because I know that I'm a lot healthier because of them, right? I appreciate that, and they too are very, very big on learning all the time because there's just so much to know and learn and grow. So shout out to them. So as we're just kind of like, is there anything that you would like? I always like to ask my guests, is there anything that you'd like to say to somebody who's maybe just feeling, it's March, it's been winter, we're all kind of feeling a little, I don't know, blah, maybe. Is there anything that you'd like to say that somebody could do like right today that would give them a little pickup? Is it, a shampoo, a product, or something fun that you love? And
You know what I would say? Because right now it's like your hair's dry, your skin's dry, your eyes are dry, everything's dry.
okay,
Go take a bath and just slather and wash your hair and like leave the conditioner on it for a half hour.
okay,
And heavy duty moisturizer, get some like love and locks and moisture back into that hair so it's swingy and happy again.
okay.
What about you?
Nancy?
I like to do color glosses this time of year. It's like it's almost like a cellophane on the hair. Like you said, it just locks in moisture and it makes it feel swingy and full and full
Oh,
of
I
body.
love
It just
it.
makes you feel. It does. After you get one, you're like walking through the grocery store, like I'm so pretty.
Oh, that's so funny you say that because my dad, I always wanted long hair, and my dad was like, no, you're having a pixie because it was he had to be responsible for my hair in the morning. Right? And it was just too much. And so I had pixie cuts. And then when I was 12, falls came out. Do you remember those? And I got a fall. One of my grandma gave it to me or something. And I'd put that fall on and I'd walk and it would swing. And I would be like, I am
You were like a movie
princess.
star, weren't ya?
Exactly. I was a movie star. And my dad would get so mad. He would say, stop swinging your hair.
But that's fun.
It is. I mean, it is, but it's just so funny. And so I was wondering, like with the hair story. So, here I am at my stage of life and, my hair's long because I love long hair and what it can do and all of that. But I will never forget that swinging at 12 and that feeling, right? I just felt youthful and like a princess.
I wonder if it's the feeling of freedom
I don't know, maybe.
when you're like going like that.
But I love that. So great suggestions. And anyways, it's been so much fun having you guys.
Oh, it has been fun.
It has been fun. Thank you for having us.
Yes,
This is what we're
thank
like
you.
every day.
They are. I will say they are. It's what it's like going to see, go into the hair story. And so we will have your contact information and the salon, where the salon is, and how to get a hold of Jill Mackay or Nancy Simcheck. I don't know why I have a hard time. I have hard. So anyway, nope, I got it. Simcheck. So our listeners too could come hang out and have fun and in Brighton, Michigan, at Hair Story, right?
Yep.
Right?
We are the place to hang,
Yeah.
aren't we?
We are.
We are the funnest place in town.
I think.
I think we are. At least we think so.
And what else matters, right?
That's right.
Right. So with that, so I'd like to say, so let's go out and live our good fat lives, right?
Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank-
being here.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.